everyone, I'm Rob and welcome to the test drive. Today, I'm driving the 2018 BMW X5 xDrive 40e. That is the plug-in hybrid version of the BMW X5. And today, I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know about this SUV, or as BMW would call it, SAV. Let's go. Now the X5 is available in a bunch of different configurations, from the base level 35i to the 35D, which is the diesel model, to the 50i, which is a twin turbo V8, obviously to the 40e, as well as the X5M, which BMW classifies as a completely different vehicle, as they do all of their M cars, the M3, M4, M5, and so on. So there are a lot of different X5s that you can get. Now, I've done a full review of the 2018 X5, kind of covering all the different trim levels as a general overview, but at the time I was specifically driving the 35i, and obviously I did gear a lot of that review to that. However, it's a good review. Feel free to check it out. I also have a POV video of that as well, so you can see what it's like to drive the 35i. But today I'm very excited to be in the 40e because, like I said, this is the plug-in hybrid version, and I've driven the 530e, which is the 5 Series plug-in hybrid. So it's awesome to be in the SUV, essentially, version of that, and be able to tell you everything that you need to know about it today and share this experience with you. So we're gonna start with the exterior of the X5 40e. Now for 2018, the design has been the same for a number of years. This design is going on around 5 years at this point. Now, BMW did update the X5 for 2019. I have not seen one in person. I don't believe very many people have. And it's a very controversial design. Very interesting, to say the least. People are comparing it to the Kia Sorento. They're also comparing it to Mercedes. I mean, I think it's mostly the way that the back looks that is just kind of not like what we've typically seen of the X5. Now, for this 2018 40e, I really like the design. I mean, this is a really good looking vehicle. It looks very aggressive from the front. The X5 kind of always has. It looks very elegant as well. I mean, you have some very aggressive lines. But again, the front is that signature kidney grille that is just so well known in the BMW world. And then coming around to the side, you have a very good looking SUV of some very nice standard rims, although there are some upgraded rim options if you get into some of the higher end luxury and M Sport lines. But even the standard rims here do look very good. And then I love the rear. I mean, this is, again, a proven design. It's been out for 5 years just about at this point. And it's a very good looking, again, elegant but aggressive design for the outside of this X5. The only distinguishing factors on the exterior of this X5 to tell you that it's a 40e is the badging on the sides of the vehicle, as well as the extra fuel door right next to the driver door, which is actually where the electric charging plug goes in. Now, when you get to the interior of the X5 40e, this is a really nice place to be. It's extremely spacious. The driver and front passenger have a lot of room. The back seat also has a lot of room as well. I'm 6 feet tall. I had no problem sitting behind myself. And then there is a third row option available in the X5. However, it is not available with the 40e, and that is my guess because of all the electrical components that have to go underneath of the trunk to support the plug-in hybrid system. So this is the X5 that is not available with the third row, and that's probably the only potentially major drawback, I guess. But honestly, the third row in the X5, if you do get it in a different version of the X5, is very small. I mean, 2 children could fit just fine back there, but adults are very cramped. That's obviously why BMW is coming out with the X7 whenever that finally comes out. I don't think you're really losing much, but if you have a lot of little kids and you want to drive an X5, then the 40e may not be the right option for you just because of that. Now the trunk itself still has a ton of room. You don't really notice versus a gasoline or diesel powered X5 that you have less trunk space. It feels exactly the same. And all the materials in this SUV are really nice. You have soft touch surfaces everywhere. The steering wheel is soft, leather wrapped, really nice. I love the look in here of the center stack. This X5 has the black Dakota leather, which is so soft, but you do have other leather options. You have Napa leather. I mean, BMW gives you so many choices. I love that a black headliner is standard in all of the X5 trims, and I also really like the fact that the panoramic moonroof is also standard. Every X5, regardless of trim level, regardless of how much you're willing to spend on a new X5, you are getting this massive panoramic moonroof, which I absolutely love. It really opens this up in here and just makes it feel even bigger than it is. This is not a massive SUV, but it really feels very spacious, and it's extremely comfortable to be in. Now, the most exciting part of the X540e is certainly the performance. Under the hood of this X5, you have two different powertrains essentially. You have a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder engine that puts out 240 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. That doesn't sound like a lot for an SUV this size. However, you also have an electric motor that puts out 111 horsepower and 332 pound-feet of torque. So the system overall at peak power and torque comes in at 308 horsepower and 332 pound-feet of torque. And that's pretty good. I mean, if you look at the X535i, comes in at around 300 horsepower and just under 300 pound-feet of torque, if I remember correctly. So this actually does put out more power. Now, I believe this is a little bit heavier. I'll put the actual weights on the screen, but I think that's the reason that this X5 gets a 0 to 60 time of 6.5 seconds. And if you look, the diesel also gets 6.5 seconds, and then the other trim levels of the X5 are a little bit or a lot better, obviously, depending whether you're looking at a 6-cylinder or a V8 X5. But for a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder combined with an electric motor, I think this is a great amount of power. And then if you look at where the peak torque is available, it's available at a really low RPM. So it's just awesome the way this is set up, and it really is fun to drive and performs in addition to being extremely fuel efficient. The 40e is also paired to BMW's xDrive all-wheel drive system. At least in North America, there is no S-Drive or rear-wheel drive option, so automatically, if you're getting the 40e, and actually if you're getting anything other than the base 35i, which I again don't really want to call the 35i base model because it's extremely well equipped where it is, but that said, unless you're getting a 35i, all of the other trim levels of the X5 are all-wheel drive with the xDrive system. This powertrain also comes with the 8-speed automatic transmission that is extremely common among the BMW lineup, and it is a great transmission. Shifts very quickly when you have it in manual mode with the paddles or with the actual gear lever. One of the strangest things when you get into a 40e, and it was the same thing with the 530e, is that when you get in and you press the start-stop button, nothing happens. You just sit there and you're like, did it not turn on? Because it doesn't make any sound. Now, obviously, the technology all comes on when you do that, but you know, there's no combustion noise or anything, as you would expect, of course, in a plug-in hybrid vehicle. Now, the total combined gas-electric fuel economy rating of the 40e is 56 mpge, and BMW states that this X5 will go up to 540 miles on a tank, and the tank is just under 22 gallons. So overall, you do get some pretty good fuel economy in this SUV. And obviously, this thing really excels in city traffic and stop-and-go situations a lot more than on the highway. But the 4-cylinder and the 8-speed automatic together do make this thing perform pretty well in terms of fuel economy on the highway too. This X5 also has a very soft ride. It really goes so smoothly over bumps. It's a very pillow-like ride. But that said, when you're cornering with this, you do get a significant amount of body roll. But it does feel very nimble. You can drive quite spiritedly in it. It doesn't feel nearly as heavy as like my E70 X5 does. I wasn't able to test the 40e's full electric only range. It's rated at 13 to 14 miles on a full charge in max e-drive, but I've actually seen people that have been able to get 18 or 19 miles out of a full charge. BMW says that this battery will charge from 0 to 100% in 3 hours with a level 2 charger. Now, if you use the standard wall plug 3-prong charger that is included with the X5 40e, then it's gonna take longer. When I charged up the 530e, I think it took about 5 hours. I did try charging this thing. I probably had it charging for 2 hours and it was at about 3% when I plugged it in, or maybe 5%-ish. It was completely dead, basically. And that got it up to about 35 or so after like 2 hours. But then as I kept driving it, it actually continued to go up. I mean, you do have regenerative braking, which basically gets electric energy from the brakes. And then I believe that the alternator does somewhat charge this thing as well. I mean, just driving it around on the highway, it did go up. I mean, now I'm up to 53% from quite a bit of highway driving, and I have it in save battery mode. Now, there are 3 different driving modes for the electric system. You have auto e-drive, which basically automatically determines whether it's going to use electric power or the gasoline motor. You also have max e-drive, where it does everything it possibly can to drive in electric only mode, and the only reason why it would go out of max e-drive would be like if you floored it and it needed the full horsepower from the gasoline engine, then it would obviously cancel max e-drive mode and you would be back into auto e-drive. And then the final mode is save battery mode. And in that mode, when you come to a stop, it will switch back to battery mode, kind of like a traditional hybrid. But other than that, it doesn't really engage the electric motor. It kind of tries to preserve the battery level that you have as much as possible. Now I start to go a little faster and need to accelerate a little more quickly, and then it kicks to the gasoline engine, but then kicks back to all electric. So again, the transition is so smooth, you don't feel it really at all. You also have 3 different regular driving modes that every BMW has. You have Eco Pro being the most economical setting, which really kind of limits the throttle response. It shifts less aggressively, the steering loosens up quite a bit. You then have comfort driving mode, which is kind of your standard everyday driving mode. And then you have sport, which is by far the most aggressive. It keeps you in a lower gear, and it really gives you the best throttle response and gives you the best power performance that you can get out of this SUV. Now, getting to the technology in the 2018 X5 40e, you have a very large 10.2-inch touchscreen that I absolutely love. It has the iDrive 6 system, which is a very nice system, and you do have this scroll wheel and touchpad as well as the touchscreen functionality. The way I am, I greatly prefer just using the scroll wheel because it keeps fingerprints off of the screen, and it's just nice not to have to reach up here, although you can. And then in some of the higher end versions of the X5, you can have like gesture control to like turn down the volume versus turn up, you know, with just gestures in the air, which is very cool. The one that I'm driving just doesn't have that. The instrument cluster is also fully digital, although it does look very similar to the previous, you know, analog, I guess, instrument cluster. So I like that it preserves that BMW look. but it is all digital, and it does give you a bunch of information below the tachometer and the speedometer, as well as in between. So it's just nice the way that it's set up. It looks really good. It doesn't look extremely futuristic, technological, or anything. It still kind of preserves that classic BMW instrument cluster look, but it is digital and gives you all the added functionality of a digital instrument cluster. So the X5 that I'm driving stickers at just over $68,000, which is not a large premium over a comparable 35i. Now, what you do lose out on going from a 35i to a 40e is really just a little bit of the responsiveness, I guess, but more so that 6-cylinder sound. I mean, the 35i has a really nice sound, and it really is very aggressive in terms of the feedback you get. And this 40e is very different. It's very reserved. It does have the power to compete pretty well with a 35i, but at the same time, it just doesn't have that grunt. So it really kind of depends on what's important to you. So I hope you enjoyed this review of the 2018 BMW X5 40e. I'm Rob. This is the test drive. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the video and this car and what this competes against. And please consider subscribing to my channel. It does help me make more videos, and it makes you eligible for the giveaways that we have going on the channel. I want to always have giveaways going on. We just wrapped up an Akaso EK7000 4K action camera giveaway, and we have another one coming up very soon. I'm trying to work out a couple details of it, but we will have another one coming out soon. So a lot of great reasons to subscribe and become a part of the test drive community. So again, thank you for taking this test drive with me, and I'll talk to you soon.